Okay, this is a tutorial for making the ragdoll physics for a character, for example. So the first thing we need to do is have a collision model like this one. After you get your collision model, you are going to duplicate it and rename it with this symbol right here. Once you have that symbol, we can start with the physics model. So first of all, if you have an animation in your model, you should delete it. I'm going to get it into the default pose, and then I'm going to delete this animation like this. Once the animation is deleted, we can continue with the model. I'm going to get this again, see if it's correct. Okay, this is the physics model. The first thing we need to do is go into the vertex groups and delete absolutely everything. Delete all groups like that. The next thing we need to do is separate the model by pieces like this. It's pretty easy, it's not too hard. Once we have everything separated, we are going to rename the pieces. It's not necessary, but it's recommended. I'm going to name this like leg 1. Then I'm going to name this leg 1, 2. Then I'm going to call this one, for example, body. And we're going to name everything. I'm going to cut the video as this is unnecessary. I think I did post. Once we have everything named correctly, the first step is going to be assigning the mesh, the body objects, into the armature, into a bone. So yeah, we are going to go to the pose mode, select the piece that we want to assign, and assign it to the model. The first one will be the body in this case, and it is assigned to the hip control, so I'm going to assign it to there, like for in bone here. Control P, bone. Next I go to the next object and I assign it to the bone. We're going to do this in all of the bones. It's pretty easy, so it should not take too much time. Well, it kinda depends on the amount of bones and physics models you have in your mesh. But in this case, it's not going to take too much time. Once we have every single bone assigned every single mesh object assigned to a bone, the next thing we are going to need to do is add physics constraints. So let's make a new collection here. I'm going to call this ragdoll like this. And here we are going to do something. We're going to go back to a mesh, doesn't matter which mesh, and we are going to add a rigid body. Next thing we are going to do is go to the ragdoll, add a mesh, empty, arrows, this one. In this case it's kinda buggy, but it doesn't matter. Next thing we are going to do is get it into a position we want, like this one. This is basically the pivot of where the rotation is going to apply. So you can put this in any zone. Next thing we're going to go is go to its properties and make a rigid body constraint like this. Once we do that, we can go back here and disable this as we no longer need it. We have this and we are going to rename it. How you are going to name it? We are going to name it as what are the parts it's going to use. So this is body, this is the first, and this is leg 1, this is the second. So we are going to call it like body the points, leg 1, like this. And this is correct. Next thing we're going to do is put that thing is body first, a leg, 1 a second, like this. This is now correct, and it should have physics in game. We are not going to do this type of thing into the first body because this is the base. It does not need a pivot. It doesn't need anything. Only the parts that are attached to it need the pivot type of thing. So yeah. Next thing we are going to do is duplicate it, of course, and get it into the next position you want it to be. In this case, I want it to be here. So I'm going to get it there. It doesn't need to be exact because you are not going to notice it if it's slightly offset. So yeah. And we're going to put leg 1 and leg 1 too, in this case. And of course, we are going to need to rename this. So let's do that. Leg 1, leg 1, 2, like this. Now we have those two correct, but before continuing, let's check if the constraints are correct. Here we have a problem. This should not be like fixed, it should be like generic. Like that. Everything should be enabled. If everything is not enabled, you are going to have problems there. So everything should be enabled. And these ones should be 0, because this is like the linear movement that also works in Halo, but usually you don't want this in ragdolls because that won't have sense. That would like a dislocated bone or something. So it doesn't have sense. I disable this and go here and do exactly the same thing. I enable everything, but I put linear to 0, like this. That's correct. Now I want the rotation to be well. This is angular. What does angular means? The rotation is going to do in the x angle, the c angle, and the g angle. So yeah, those angles. It's like the limit of where it's going to rotate. So this is going to rotate into this limit. So, well, it's the limits basically. So yeah, depending on the angle, it's going to limit the rotation. In this case, this should be fine, but I think I'm going to change to that number. So let's go. Let's change everything here. That's correct. I'm going to do the same here. So I'm going to do it. Other thing to have in mind. Usually it might glitch the constraints if you have more than 2, like in chain type. So it's this, then this, and it will not glitch. If you add a third one, it might glitch. Not everything happens, but sometimes it's something to keep in mind. I don't know what causes exactly, but this like this should be fine. Don't go crazy with the physics, basically I'm speaking. Okay, once we have this done, I'm going to duplicate it 2 more times, and then I'm going to flip it to the other side. So yeah, let's put this here. Okay, that's fine, I think. So yeah, let's rename it again. This one is going to be body, leg, body, leg 4, like that. And I'm going to change this as well to body and leg 4, like this. I'm going to duplicate it again and position it into the correct spot. We are going to do this with every constraint type thing. So yeah. Like this, and I can change it again. This will be leg 4, and this one is going to be leg 4 2, like that. I'm going to rename it leg 4 2, like that. That's correct. Okay, we have the ragdoll set in one side, so I'm going to duplicate it and get it into the other side. we cannot use Control MX. So I'm going to sorry, that's Spanish. I'm going to do this, and that will get it into the other side. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not too hard. Other things to keep in mind: the skeleton, or actually the wall model, should be rotated into one of the axes. Yep, into the x-axis like that. The front should be this, and well. So here we have something. Is because the model is not completely centered. So I'm going to edit that, the position of this. It doesn't need to be like the exact thing, but it's better if it's somewhat exact. So yeah, I'm going to do that. Like that. That's the node bone. So yeah, let's put it into the spot. Okay, that seems to look quite good. Let's check the last one. Is this one, I think. Also, do not forget to rename the bones and assign them to the correct spot. So let's do that. This one will be leg 2, and we have to check the constraint here. That is leg 2. Do not forget to do this, because if not, the model is going to glitch. This one is leg 3, and I'm going to change it to leg 3. Next one is this one. In this case, it will be leg 2, like that. I'm going to change this to leg 2 and leg 2, 2. Okay. We only have one left, so we are going to rename it again. 3, 3, like that. And don't forget to change this, leg 3, 2, like that. That's pretty much it for the constraints. We got the constraints all done, but we are going to do another thing. So yeah, this should be obvious in case you wonder, but the face maps have to match the render and collision face maps. In this case, the model does not have face maps, so I'm going to make one. In this case, like base body, can call it. So I'm going to call it like that. And do again for every part. Base body, same base body, and same. I could have done it from the start, but I forgot, so I'm going to do it right now. It is quite easy once you understand how the constraints work, but at first it might seem confusing. Well, I think almost everything in the Halo mod tools looks confusing at first, but once you understand it, it's no longer that confusing. That's correct. Okay, we have the physics with the face map. I'm going to go to the collision and assign a face map as well. Like that. This one as well, the render model. Like that. Now we have everything correct. We have the physics setup, the render setup, collision setup, and pretty much everything. You can see this is slightly rotated. Like, that's why the physics are not exact. But it will not matter, I think. So that's pretty much it. We have ragdoll, collision, physics, render, everything. Yep, that's pretty much it. Now we have to export the model. So let's do it. Export and this model. Okay, here we have our folder, and we are going to export in render and collision. First the render, because we changed the face mask, so let's export it. Then we are going to export the collision. And after that, we are going to export the physics. So let's try exporting them. Sorry if the sound quality is quite bad. I'm recording from my laptop, my new laptop, by the way. And, well, it doesn't have mic input, so yeah. It's just the default mic, and it sounds quite bad. So sorry for that. The render is done, everything is done. We have pretty much everything exported, collision, physics, and render. So we know we need to compile the models, so let's go into the folder. This one will be this one. Okay, let's open CMD and write tool bulk import model folder. Draft. I am going to add draft because the render model is pretty simple and doesn't need priority calculations. So I'm just going to do that. Next thing, I'm going to write the folder patch. Oops, I write it wrong. Sorry. It will be actually craft. Like that. And it's going to import the files, the JMS render model, the collision model, and the biped model. Once it's import everything, we are going to go into Guerrilla. And here we are going to do some modifications. Well, this will depend in your biped or type of thing you're doing. In my case, I'm doing the half-life graph, so that's what we're going to do. Here we have the half-life graph. I forgot to do something, so I'm going back right now. Nah, let's do it from zero. Yeah, I don't have the original biped that I was working in my desktop. So I'm going to copy a model like marine, for example, and paste it there. That should do it. Let's go into the folder and paste. So I'm going to write that. I'm going to put this, I'm going to delete this one, rename it graph, like that, and reimport because the model changed. Okay, that's pretty much good. Now I'm going to go into the pipette. I have to reset Guerrilla because it doesn't do that in real time. And open Guerrilla. Here we have now our half-life graph biped, and I have to do some changes to it. So I'm going to delete the default model variant as this is a half-life graph, doesn't have variants, I think. Like, let's go into the folder. Well, wait, this is the data folder. This is not the tags folder. Okay, let's check. No. Here, like that. That will be correct. Okay, now we have that. We have to go into our... Where is it? Our biped. Here is... No, this one is not. Yes, it is. I'm going to check this spherical and change the radius. Something like 2, I think. Don't know exactly how much. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is always ragdoll when dead. This. Why I am enable this? Because the model does not have dead animations. It gets like freeze when it dies. But if you enable this, that does not happen. It dies instantly and, well, it starts ragdoll to what it should do. So I'm going to enable this. This quite depends on what you are doing. In my case, I need to enable this. So yeah, once I enable this, I can go into my Half-Life graph model and do other stuff here. First of all, this animation is not correct, so I have to change it. This is data folder I will use. No, it's the text folder. Yeah, the Half-Life graph animation is not here. We have to import it. I'm going to use the resource model animation, so let's see if it works. Model animations, and there you go. It imported, I think. Let's see if it appears now. There it is. Okay, I'm going to delete all variants as it doesn't have a variant. And here we have this. I'm going to change this to marine, soft, organic, flesh, human. Next thing I'm going to do, that was not necessary in case you wonder, that's not for physics, but I added that. Okay. The thing that we're going to modify now is, we're going to save this is fine. I'm going to go into the physics model and change some stuff here, and it will technically be done. Also, I didn't add bitmaps nor shaders because I forgot, but doesn't matter. This is the mass of the model. I'm going to, well, this is what determines the mass of the model. So I do not recommend letting it in zero because that will cause, well, you could move it pretty easily, so it will look less realistic. So I'm going to change it to something like that, and that will be pretty much fine. Next thing I'm going to do is go into the materials, and this is optional as well. What this will do is maybe make it able to collision with the player. If you change it to crate, it can collision with the player, so that's what I'm going to do, make it collide with the player. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do. Once we have everything done, we can, well, test it in game. So I'm going to, well, let's see if it will take a while to open, so I'm going to cut the video, but let's select the map and see. So let's go to what will be the correct one to test it. The lighting reference is a very simple map, so that will be. Now I'm going to cut. It will take a while. Also, I'm going to adjust the windows. So let's see. Okay, we are in game. We have some stuff here that I'm going to delete as I kinda don't care about that. Let's go into our scenery and delete pretty much everything. Like that. After deleting everything, we can, well, place our biped and see if the Half-Life graph works just fine. So let's try it. Where is the share? Here it is. And import it. Add tag. And see if it works just fine. Replace it. Doesn't have textures, of course. And spawn right here. Here we are. And here is our graph. If I kill it, it didn't die, because of course it has quite a bit of life. And as you can see, it is working. It has a working ragdoll. I'm going to do some change. For example, I'm going to change the amount of life it has. So let's do it. If I go, where is it? Here it is. I'm going to put this like here so it insta dies. And go back. Place a few more Half-Life graphs. And see. I think its collision is pretty small, so I'm going to edit that as well. I can open something so I can see better the collision, but I think I can get it right. See how much it takes to open. Okay, that's fine. Let's go low. Where is it? It is. No, here is, where is it? Yes, is radius. Let's change it to 0.1 and see if it works. well, that's pretty much better. Okay, that's great. Let's place more. Okay, that's quite scary. Let's throw a grenade and see what happens. You can see, well, it ragdolls. Every part of the model ragdolls, I can touch them. It gets into ragdoll mode instantaneous. And well, it works just fine, like that. And that's how you make a ragdoll. It's not too hard. Other tip I can give about making ragdolls. If we go here, the ragdoll mode, we can hide everything. We don't need it. Here is the ragdoll mode. If you like set up this more advanced, like you change these values, check the ground physics model, I don't know, you do some very advanced stuff here, and you want to flip it to the other side, you don't need to change the values. You can. That's a way. But another thing you can do is just change the rotation of this, like just change it to something like, I don't know, like this, and it should work. It should be the same thing but flip it. So if you do advanced stuff, you can just do that, and well, it will work just fine. So in case you like the video, well, like. In case it was useful, subscribe. And in case you have any doubt, comment, and I will try to help you. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Subscribe for more content, for more tutorials in a very weird English. Bye bye.